Meanwhile, we are following a report that the FBI obtained a secret court order last summer to monitor the communications of a former advisor to the Trump campaign. The Washington Post says the agency had reason to believe that former foreign policy advisor Carter Page was acting as a Russian agent. The Post calls the development the clearest evidence so far that the FBI had reason to believe that a campaign aide was colluding with the Russians. Let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes. She joins us now from Capitol Hill. So, Nancy, walk us through the implications here. What specifically does the FBI or the Justice Department have to show a court in order to obtain one of these warrants?
It's a very rigorous process, Vlad. They have to show a secret court that they've got evidence that the person who they want to conduct surveillance on is a foreign agent. That means they're either working with foreigners to spy on the United States or conspire against the United States. And then once they obtain the warrant, it's only good for 90 days. If they want to if they want to continue surveillance, they've got to reapply for the warrant. And so for a while now, we have known that U.S. investigators had obtained one or more of these FISA warrants, but we didn't know definitively who it was in Donald Trump's orbit that they were monitoring. Now the Washington Post is reporting definitively that at least one of the people under surveillance was Carter Page, someone who had been on the FBI's radar screen since 2013 because he was approached then by Russian intelligence agents. Page himself denies any wrongdoing. He tells CBS News that these FBI attempts to monitor him were unjustified. But the question now is, who else, if anyone, was under surveillance and why?
Nancy, we're also following a report suggesting that lawmakers on Capitol Hill now have evidence undermining the White House's claims that the names of transition officials may have been illegally unmasked by the Obama administration. So what can you tell us about that?
What I can tell you is that from the beginning, Democrats and Republicans here on Capitol Hill were very skeptical of this claim that was being made first by Devin Nunes, the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, and then picked up very rapidly by the White House, that the former National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, did something wrong when she unmasked or asked for the identities of Trump campaign officials that were popping up in these intelligence reports that she was receiving. It's part of the reason that Nunes is no longer leading the Russia investigation, because he wasn't getting a ton of backup from Republicans, let alone Democrats. What aides in both the House and Senate Intelligence Committees have told me all along is that this is a very routine process. Unmasking intelligence officials, top administration officials who have access to these intelligence reports, asking for more information when they get the reports. Who is this who is popping up unnamed in this report? I need more context. They have to formally request the name. If the intelligence community that crafted the report decides that it is a legitimate request, then they provide that name. Nothing unusual about that, according to Democrats and Republicans here on Capitol Hill. But over the past week and a half, they've had the opportunity now to examine the same reports that Nunes was looking at when he made this startling accusation a few weeks ago. And now it appears that there's even more distance between him and the White House, making one argument, and a lot of Democrats and Republicans looking at the same information and coming to a different conclusion.
I think a lot of Americans will be at least relieved to know that it's Democrats and Republicans who are coming to that conclusion, Nancy. Nancy Cordes for us on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.